All right. Officially, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Options Income Launchpad Monday Market Kickoff. My name is Scott, and I will be your host, as always. As always, let me remind you that what we do is for education and illustrative purposes only. Nothing is intended as a recommendation to buy or sell any security or financial product. This content is provided solely for information and educational purposes, does not constitute personalized investment advice. We're not brokers or advisors. Any investment decisions made should be at your own risk. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Let's talk about what we have going on today. Opening futures and news. Expectations, I gotta say, if I had to say what my expectations are for this week, it'll be more of the same. Sideways, possibly bullish. Due to light trading volumes. But we'll see what happens. We'll look at the opening futures and news. We'll look at the economic calendar, review our posture for those who missed Sunday. Mindset for any open trades. What does our opening range look like? And what are the implications of that? What does our early week opportunity list look like? And again, when it comes to the trading plan, we're not working on a specific section right now. So if you're wondering, are we just not working on our trading plans? We should always be working on our trading plans. And at the start of the year, rather than having like we're going to set a New Year's resolution to blah, 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 our plans. I want us thinking about evaluation and prioritization. So everyone should have every section of their trading plan evaluated, measured, scale from 1 to 10. How confident are you? You're not saying, hey, what's the quality? You might not feel comfortable judging the quality. I'm asking you to judge your confidence. How confident are you in that section? Because if you've put a lot of time into it, you've asked some questions, you're probably feeling pretty good. You're an 8. If you've just kind of started scratching the surface, you've got a couple things defined, you're probably more like a 4. And once you go through and you check every section and you evaluate it, that'll leave you in a situation where you can start to prioritize. You take your lowest score and you say, I'm going to focus on that one, and then I'm going to go to the next lowest, and then kind of leapfrog through, getting everything up to speed, trying to get everything up to what? 7? 7, maybe an 8. So, if your trading plan is scoring around 55, 60, it's pretty good out of 80. That's pretty good. Nothing wrong with that at all. So let me know if you have any questions about that, but that's what we're doing right now for the trading plan. Okay. Let's get to it. I do want to get these two things reloaded here real fast. Futures are down. S&P down 0.5%. Dow 0.3. NASDAQ 0.75. Russell 0.4. Metals are also down. Gold's down almost 3%. Give me a second. Let me get this reloaded. Oops. Okay. Every Wall Street analyst now predicts a rally. That has me a little bit concerned. Everybody's bullish. Stock futures slip. Wall Street set to wrap up a wild 2025. Margin rate for silver increased from 20 to 25K. Okay, so a little bit more margin requirement for it. Interesting. Deleveraging taking place. Yeah. Headwinds are abating. U.S. economy looks set for tax cut boost. What else? Anyone see something I'm missing for some news? Let me know. VCs predict strong enterprise AI adoption next year again. Copper hits the record in London. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Let me get out of the Heiken-Ashi candles. Let's see if that news is set to. Let's see. Not a lot of green yet as we first get started here. All right, J&J still looks a bit interesting, I would actually say. If you're looking for something that's a little bit off cycle with the market, that certainly has some prospects for us. All right. What is a margin? Okay. If you come in here on my Thinkorswim, you'll notice I have all these futures contracts. And they essentially let me know. So, for example, silver was mentioned, which is here. Actually, if you're looking at the margin rate for the full silver contracts, it's up to 37.4. So you'll notice that is here. That's how much you have to pony up, right, to trade one contract. The mini futures are only 7,500. But this is basically, the more margin there is, the more they're requiring you to put up in order to provide money for the to cover the trade. Essentially, is what it is. Money to cover the trade. So, yeah. I mean, you can see some things like sugar futures are only $900. Bitcoin is probably over 100 grand. Let's see if I can find Bitcoin. Bitcoin is $174,000 per contract for one contract. If somebody wanted to go long a contract of Bitcoin, they would have to have 175 grand covering that trade. Ethereum is 77, gold is 34. So this just kind of gives you a sense. Okay. Let's go take a look at the market itself. Option contracts? No, those are futures. So a future is a leveraged derivative product similar to an option as far as that goes, but it doesn't cover a specific strike price. It's more of a fluid, like you're just either long or you're short. There's no time decay. So just a little bit, just slightly different in what it is and what it does. All right. Let's look at the VIX. And you can see the VIX has popped a little bit. Literally just a little bit. Not much. There's not a lot there. But there's a little bit of there may be a consolidation on our hands here. And if we get that over the next couple of days, if the market comes up and gets up here and then stabilizes and rolls over, well, that's another lower high. That's actually something that would help us. Yeah, so let me know if you have any questions about that. SLV put. Okay. Love it. Love it. Silver definitely well off of its highs. At this point, you can see a pretty, I mean, this thing is now parabolic. And what is parabolic up is also likely to end up parabolic down. So there you go. Love to hear that. Apple's actually trying to show a little strength here. AMKR still holding up here. Right? Still kind of sitting in this spot where where we see something there. All right. Amazon stalled. APH stalled. So we're seeing some things that are kind of topping. They're a little bit at resistance. A pullback would be useful. to us in this circumstance. Okay. AVGO, overextended. AXP. A lot of things on these little minor pullbacks, which means if you're in the trade, you're kind of asking yourself, is there any need for me to get out, or am I okay still? If you're not in the trade, you're asking yourself, what do I need to see in order to want to pull the trigger next on something? Okay. AMKR. AMKR is holding up. It's basically at the same spot. And you can see that the momentum is still there. We just need to see it start, this is it. We're kind of coming to the end there of this. BAC on a pause, City on a pause. Caterpillar, pause. As we said, there may not be too much there for us to deal with this week. We may just have to deal with markets just kind of a little sideways in this time. Sienna, a pause. CLS. I mean, it's overall, CLS is something I'm getting ready to bounce from my lists. Okay, let's keep looking. Coherent. Yeah, I mean I think that a lot of this is kind of telling the same story, that we got a little something up, and then it's just kind of like, are we going to end up in this little drift bounce and then pop from there? Well, there's a good chance that's something that we see. So okay. Credo. No. Cisco. Cisco's still holding up. Cisco looks very close and could be moving. Delta. Setting up. Got up to this new high. Now it's starting to pull back. Plenty of time before earnings. So yeah, I think that there's definitely something there for us. Okay, diamonds. Pausing. Fox, pausing. First Solar. Ooh, First Solar. New high, pull back. First Solar looks interesting. GE pulling back. Right? Pulling back. Now what? Now we think it's likely to pull back into our next opportunity. Would I expect there to be a trade alert today? No, not based on what I'm seeing here. Hey, good evening or good morning, Stephen D. Good to see you. But this is exactly what we're looking for our next trade. If this thing drops in, stabilizes, starts to turn, we've got an opportunity out here waiting for us as we look for this thing to make its next move. GE Vernova, probably going to look very similar. Actually, Doug, we used to watch both of those for a while. Let's take a quick peek at GEV. Yeah, still some similarities there. Okay, let's keep looking here. Gold dropping pretty hard today. Down 3.5%. General Motors staying pretty flat today. Google rounding over, possibly dropping a little bit now. Okay. Goldman dropping. So I think overall financials are still strong. I'm still looking for trades there. But waiting, right? Waiting for the right opportunity to set up. Howmet waiting for the pullback. IBM just kind of stalled out there. Okay. Intel holding up. A little bit of good news. It's pushing this one positive. We're looking to see if this can catch a little momentum still right near our entry. Let's go to small caps. Small caps are on a little bit of a pause. JCI on a pause. J&J. If there was a bullish trade that I would be like, I would pull the trigger on, it's probably Johnson & Johnson. Nice continuation trade. I could put a stop I don't have to go back here to this red candle. I could go under the first of these white candles, low of 205.57. So, yeah, I'm only taking 3 and change of risk. So if I think this thing can make a move up here to 220, which is well within the range. Yeah, actually, as I think about it, it's a little off cycle as it's from healthcare. Yeah, if there was a trade alert to be had so far, this is it. Anyone been trading healthcare, still keeping an eye on healthcare, let me know. Okay. Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly looks a little overextended and has already made a move. LRCX, Lam Research. Overextended. A lot of this. Right? We have a lot of this. Okay. Macy's. This is another one that I think is actually looking close. Just made a new high. Trend is good. Macy's trend is good. It's been strong. Yeah. Not today, but it's close. MasterCard, a little overextended. Meta pulling back. Tried to make a move, but never really got there. Broke this consolidation, pulled back, higher low. Started to bounce, but it got real stalled out here under the moving averages. And you can see now starting to pull back. Now, if it pauses in here and then starts to turn, I'm okay with that. It's another higher low. But if it does more than that, then it's going to be a little bit more dicey for us. So we have to pay a little more attention if that's the case. All right. Let's get my drawings off of here. Morgan Stanley pulling back. If you're in, spreads are a little wide. A little, like, do you feel like they're inordinately wide? I felt like they were still under our 10%, but I might have missed it. Let's stop and go back. Let me see here. J&J. Let's go down to 12. Yeah, they're not great for how much liquidity there seems to be. They're not great. I agree with that. Yeah. Now here's the thing. If you notice right here in the middle around the 210s, it's only 15 cents. But as you start to go in the money, it actually starts to get worse. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way, John Welsh. That's a great call out. It's Yeah, it's a little bit iffy. Okay. What would it take for them to improve? Honestly, typically it's going to be market. It's going to be um, it's going to be the amount of activity trading. Like the market makers are the ones doing it. So, yeah, more institutional money. It's just not getting there. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna maybe pull back on that. I agree. The Johnson and Johnson are just so demand of the options. That's why we tend to look at open interest and volume. But the problem is that there's times where we'll see it and it'll have a decent amount like that one did, and it'll still have wide spreads. And there's really no valid explanation. There's nothing particular we're looking for. It's just the randomness of how it trades. Yeah. There's nothing we can do, unfortunately. We want it. We want to trade it, but it's not a good idea to get into. Lumentum coming down. Eli Lilly coming down. Oh, where were we? We got through these. We got to Morgan Stanley starting to cross the barrier here. If you're in it, you're getting a little bit like, what's this going to do? Tightening stops. Okay. Microsoft, no. Micron just needs a pullback. It's very strong. We love the higher highs, higher lows. Just looking for a little bit of a pullback here. Netflix down low. Would I hold 10 to 15 minutes training about evaluating call expiration? Yeah. Yeah, let's plan for that tomorrow. That's great. I love that. Yeah. That would be good for all of us. Sandy said, I love it. That's exactly what we want to do with those sessions. NVIDIA pulling back, but does look more bullish. NXT sideways. Palantir pulling back, possibly setting up. That's an old favorite of ours. We'd love to see something there. QQQ sideways. The real pulling back. I might go for that one again. Yeah, I might. Rocket Lab. Oh, you'd love another chance at Rocket Lab going all flying up in the air for us. We love it. Roku, sideways. Ross, possibly setting up a little more bullishness, and this one's actually there. Yeah. Okay. So I would say Ross is looking okay. RTX on a pullback, on a flag setup. There's a few things developing here for us. Definitely. Silver definitely got beat up a little bit today, down 7.5%. SanDisk. Okay, I think there's new opportunities setting up here. This one clearly made a nice bump. Higher high here, higher low here. It's got plenty of room to continue moving. Okay. Some stochastic lines are very together. Why some are not? Well, and I'll tell you this, Steven. Steven said, I hope they had stops. The stops probably didn't help much. If you go back and you look, the problem with SLV is we ended here, started here. That means it doesn't matter if your stop was there. They all got hit on the open. So that makes it more difficult. Okay. I don't believe it is 24. And if your stop is on options, remember the options do not trade, only trade 6.5 hours a day. Even if the stock is trading, the options are not. Logistically, that's a challenge for sure. Where were we? STX. Let's look at the market for just a second. SPY. You can see the buyers tried to come in on the open. They tried to come in. Nothing happened. They've pushed it back down. We're at the bottom of the opening range. We're still just kind of watching to see what comes next. STX. Let me go back here. Still kind of waiting to see what comes from STX. Same with Teradyne. There could be something developing here. Okay. Let's keep going. No big boy money yet. Agreed, Sandy. TJX overextended. This one looked like it tried to actually turn here and then it's just sort of stalled. So I don't know. This one's a little bit different. Okay. Tesla dropping today. Maybe a trade setup coming. TSM pausing. Here's today's VIX. It's not a lot. Not a lot of fear. I'm feeling pretty confident. I feel like the markets are feeling pretty confident. But it is a pullback, so we have to be aware of that. Okay. Let's see. WBD sideways. Here's another one. Oh, not that. WDC kind of still sideways. Here's another one that I was looking at for this week. Is Walmart a little bit of an off-cycle trade? Okay. So there's a bit of defensiveness when it comes to Walmart. And you can see this one is probably one of the most viable setups. And in fact, I know for now, if you want to see what liquidity looks like here as a comparison, so here you can see we still have at the round numbers 110, 22,000 contracts. Right? 22,000 contracts. When you look at the 115, 24,000 contracts. But even if you look at the singles, there's a few hundred of each. Look at the spreads. 4 cents, 7 cents, 10 cents, 12 cents, 11 cents. Very, very minor amounts of money, not even hardly a fraction. If I bought these for $2.31 and paid 8 cents, that's about 4% in the spread. Our rule is less than 10. It's not quite pennies, but it's very, very close. Okay. That's the watch list. Not a lot today. What are you doing today? Exercising patience, right? You're exercising patience. You're doing what you need to do to stay with trades that are still valid, that are bullish and still show prospects. You're being patient with trades that you're waiting for. That's the day today. Possibly an alert on something that I would consider to be off cycle, like Walmart. It's looking pretty good, so still keep an eye out. That's one that we've been waiting for. Let me go back to that chart. It's pulled back, higher low. Yeah, I would say this looks like it could easily make a move up here and then possibly a bigger one after that. All right. Well, we have a few minutes. Did I miss anything? Let's take a quick look at the XLs. Materials are pulling back. Communication services kind of flat. Energy kind of flat. Financials a little pullback. Industrials a little pullback. Technology a little pullback. So as long as it stays a little pullback, what that does is brings opportunity our way. Bump my microphone. Sorry, guys. The AI, same thing across here. Long term stayed the same. Short term, actually, it scored the short term up a little bit, but it scored the volume down a little bit. So that was interesting. But if you look, my total here, 2.75, ChatGPT, 2.75. A little bit of difference, subtle. ChatGPT kept that the same, kept that the same. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sector rotation went up a quarter. His was a little more volatile. Up a quarter there, stayed the same here, up a quarter there. At the end of the day, ChatGPT increased its score by a half a point and is now a 4.75. I increased a quarter point. Now I'm a 5. The highest I heard, 5.25. Anybody higher than 5.25? Let me know. The lowest I heard, Intel's still good. Intel's still fine. It's holding up. Not ideal in that it, but it's holding its support level. It's still showing signs of momentum. Still good there. So there you go. All right. Yeah, I don't have huge expectations for this week, but I do think that we have a trade setting up on Walmart, and that's one that we've been watching for. Can I go back to XLU? Absolutely. XLU is a little tough. It's kind of in this consolidation right here. Tried to break out, and then it just kind of fell right back down into it. I need this thing to break above this, and then I would feel a little better, but looks like it's a little bit stuck in a downward consolidation. So, all right. Trading plan. Evaluate each section. Yeah. Now, with that being out of the money, I think our risk level was actually even bigger than that. The risk level, I think, was 60. So it's come down, but it's still holding. I would still be holding that one. Absolutely. All right. Wednesday, half day. Thursday, closed. We will meet Wednesday. All Thursday classes are canceled. I expect a fairly light week, but still a possibility for some movement here. All right, it's great to see everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time. As always, happy trading.